You should now see our video and hear us. So we're doing a little sound check. So hopefully you can hear us now. I really appreciate you joining us today for the webinar where we're going to talk about Balance Yourself, a fall prevention program. I'll start by introducing myself. I'm one of the hosts today. I'm Bridget Wallace. I'm a physical therapist, and you should also see Charlotte Howell on here. She's a physical therapist assistant, and we're lucky to get to work together and also bring you this webinar. So I'm going to go over a few things, and then Charlotte's going to kick in and tell you a little bit about herself, and we'll do this to minimize some of the feedback with our microphones. So we'll start with some housekeeping items on the agenda. And if you look over there on your right-hand side, you'll see a chat box. And you want to ask your questions in chat. You'll see also a Q&A only, but we like to keep everything in the chat option. It's just easier to monitor any questions that you may have. The other thing is I'll be moving on and telling you a little bit about the clinic. Charlotte is going to then take over and tell you about our fall prevention, or even I should say fall prevention, balance improvement, Balance Yourself program. We're super excited. Charlotte's put a lot of work into it, and we're been wanting to bring this to you. So excited that it's finally going to be available. And she's going to give you a little background on that and walk you through some steps. Again, as a reminder, we will be on video. If you have questions, you will ask them in the chat box. So a little bit about, again, me. I'm a physical therapist. I've been in the space of dizziness and balance disorders for almost 30 years. And been through a lot of different taglines through the years, but I've really hung on to this one. I think it defines us as staff, and we are passionate about our care, and above all, compassionate about you. Our goal is to be the best resource for patients that are suffering from dizziness or balance disorders. And super excited. We're celebrating our 21 years in private practice in this particular practice. And I just, shared some things. We've seen over 35,000 patients, 13 different states, 3 different countries. We have a lot of students go through our program, which is super exciting, and we're very honored to have received numerous awards. But we're not here to talk about me. I'd love to turn this program over to Charlotte, let her share a little bit about herself and this amazing Balance Yourself program. So I'm going to turn my mic and camera off and let Charlotte take over.
All right, so my name is Charlotte Howell. I'm a physical therapist assistant, and actually I was one of the students in that 50 students who completed their clinical rotations here at 360. So I've been here since I graduated, so gotten to know kind of the ins and outs and just love working here, and we're all passionate about balance and keeping people as safe as possible. So with that, I'm going to talk about the Balance Yourself program. We have based this program on the Otago Fall Prevention Program. Now, the Otago Fall Prevention Program was developed in New Zealand. One of the fundamental aspects of it is that it's led under the direct supervision of a healthcare professional. So that can be a physical therapist, a nurse, even a trained professional like a personal trainer can do this. But it does require one-on-one training and follow-ups with a trained professional. With the Otago Fall Prevention Program, the studies show a significant reduction in falls and fall-related injuries and deaths. So that's been, of course, the Otago Fall Prevention Program has been studied, and that's what that's what's come out of it. So we really liked this program. We really liked the bones of it, and we wanted to take it and make it accessible for pretty much everybody, no matter where they are and whether they have access to a healthcare professional and whether they have access to insurance. So our program is fundamentally different in that it does not involve a healthcare professional. This is meant for you to take and decide where is best for you to start, and we'll kind of go over how you can do that and when is best for you to progress on your own time. It does not involve check-ins with a healthcare professional, so this is something that you can do fully on your own to improve your balance. The program is largely, as I said, designed to be accessible to anyone, but to progress, you will need some kind of basic equipment. Most of these things you probably already have, but there might be something that you might need to go out and get. So the first thing is ankle weights. I think most people don't just have those lying around, but they're pretty easy to find either at a sporting goods store, or I think even Target has them. So those should be pretty easy to find. Having a few different ones is ideal so that you can progress yourself. So a kind of a good starting point would be half a pound each, 1 pound each, and 2 pounds each would be kind of a good progression. A sturdy chair. Now, hopefully you already have one of these. When I say a sturdy chair, I mean something that doesn't have wheels, nothing that folds, anything along those lines, something that's sturdy, either made of wood or metal, and that you can sit down and stand up out of without it having a chance of moving. Exercise clothes. Now, these don't have to be, official, any kind of brand. They can just be anything that's comfortable, loose, and that you can move in. None of the exercises in this program are going to be overly extensive, so just anything that you feel comfortable wearing should be fine. Safe, comfortable shoes, and we'll go over this a little bit more. So you'll have to have shoes that either lace on or just stay very nice and firmly on your feet. Now, I always say that you should keep your phone either in your pocket or on the surface near where you will be exercising. This is just for safety. In case something does happen and you do experience a fall, you should be able to at least reach your phone no matter where you are. I prefer that it's in your pocket, but I understand that a lot of clothing, especially for women and especially exercise clothing, doesn't have pockets. So just as close to where you'll be exercising as possible. And of course, if you have a safety button, always wear your safety button, either your pendant or your watch. There's an exercise log that is available on the website or in the course that you can keep track of the progress. We always say, don't look at your progress day to day because you won't see the little improvements. Instead, track your progress for a while and then look 2 weeks back and see how you've progressed over the last 2 weeks. And then, of course, the last thing that you'll need is an open space for exercise that is free of obstacles. And obstacles might be rugs or toys if you have children or grandchildren, pets, things along those lines. And I understand we all love our kids and our pets, but this might be your time instead of your time with them. All right, and safety first. Safety is always number one with everything we do here. The name of the game is preventing falls. So of course, if we cause a fall, trying to exercise to not fall, then we've undone all of that work. So safety with the program is very important. Like I said before, always have your phone and safety button on or accessible while practicing your exercises. On is preferred. You want to wear shoes or be barefoot. Don't exercise in sock feet. Sock feet have a very high incidence of slipping out from under you, especially if you're working on a hard surface like linoleum or hardwood. Make sure your shoes fit properly if you're going to wear shoes. Laces are best, but I understand that sometimes you have shoes that you just really like and just really fit your foot fine. That's great. And again, if an exercise involves a chair, make sure your chair is sturdy, doesn't have wheels, it doesn't fold, it doesn't rock back and forth, nothing along those lines. So no desk chairs. Now, each The program is kind of broken up into 3 major parts. There's the warm-up, the balance, and the strengthening exercises. So safety, specifically with each portion, during the warm-up stretches, you shouldn't feel pain. The warm-up stretches should be nice and gentle and just meant to kind of wake up your joints and your muscles to get ready for the other parts of the exercise routine. If you find that you're doing an exercise like turning your head, for example, and you're feeling pain, just don't go that far. It's okay. You don't have to push yourself past the limits of pain. During the balance exercises, practice harder exercises with your hands in the kitchen sink or standing in a corner. So if your hands are in the kitchen sink and you start to fall backwards, you'll just catch yourself. And I can kind of show you a little bit more of what I mean by that in a minute. If you're standing in a corner and you start to fall backwards, of course, the corner will catch you. So that's another way to make sure that you're being very safe while doing balance exercises. There's also a walking portion of the program. And during the walking portion, you should really choose a flat, open space that you feel comfortable in and that you feel that you are safe walking through. If you can, it's always best to walk with someone else. But if you don't have someone else to walk with, please make sure you always have your phone on you. Even if you're going out for a 5-minute walk, you need to have your phone on you for safety. And of course, you are going to stop immediately and consult a physician if you experience any of the following. Again, none of these exercise routines should be strenuous or overly strenuous. So if you experience any of these, make sure that you consult a healthcare professional. Dizziness, remember that this is different from imbalance. Dizziness is going to feel like either you're moving or the room is moving or the world is moving in ways that it shouldn't be moving. Lightheadedness or feeling like you're going to pass out. If you experience this, please sit down in a chair or lie down if you're able until that feeling passes. And again, follow up with a healthcare professional. Chest pain, neck pain, or arm pain. If this is pain that is unusual that you have not felt before, you should stop immediately. Unexpected shortness of breath. So of course, doing exercises, you might experience some shortness of breath. That's okay. We do want you to get a bit of a workout with this. But if you're experiencing unexpected shortness of breath, so if it's too much or if it's lasting longer than you expect it to, then stop the program immediately. Any sort of slurred speech, that you're definitely going to want to consult a physician. And a fall, especially if it results in hitting your head, always go to your physician if you hit your head with a fall. We see patients all the time that don't want to make a fuss after they've fallen, but make sure that you go and consult your doctor because, of course, it might be a bigger fuss later on if you don't. So as I mentioned earlier, this is a 3-part program. There's a warm-up stretch portion. Again, these should be gentle. You should not feel pain with these. You might feel a little stretch, and we all know that a stretch might not be the most comfortable thing, but there shouldn't be pain. So if you do experience pain, just let off of that stretch a little bit. Stay within your pain limits. That's totally fine. The second part is going to be strengthening exercises. You're going to perform these with ankle weights. You might start without the ankle weights and then add the ankle weights as you go, and that's fine. That's all right as well. The kind of rule to live by is going to be that if you can perform 2 sets of 10 with the ankle weights that you're currently using, you're going to increase the weight. And then the last portion is going to be the balance exercises. You're going to perform more difficult exercises, again, with your hands in the sink or near a counter if you don't, to have a kitchen sink or something that's available to you. You can also do these in a corner with your back to the corner, and that way if you start to fall, the corner will support you. And then as much as you can, you want to use your ankles instead of your hands or arms for balance. And what I mean by this is that you will feel yourself sway. A little bit of sway is okay. I just want you to make sure that you're trying to use your ankles to balance instead of immediately grabbing onto something when you feel like you might be losing your balance. The caveat to that is, of course, if you feel like you're actually going to fall, please grab onto something. Please put your hands down. So where to start? Start where you are challenged but feel safe. So if you're doing an exercise and it's easy, then your body probably isn't learning anything. You want to be challenged by the exercises. But of course, if you're doing an exercise and you're feeling like you're going to fall over, or you're feeling like you're just not doing something safely, then make sure that you dial back the difficulty a little bit. You should be able to complete every exercise in a level before you move on to the next level. So I mentioned briefly earlier that there are 4 levels, A through D. We'll kind of go over how you can choose which level to start with. But if you're working on, let's say, level B and things are just too difficult, you can drop back to level A. That's totally fine. However, if you're working on level A and you're doing all of the exercises perfectly and you find that they're pretty easy, move on to level B. If you're unsure whether a level is appropriately challenging or too difficult, again, we're going to do those bi-weekly check-ins and the once a month kind of deeper dive-ins. And we can answer questions specifically to you, or if you want to, if we get several people asking the same things, then we can answer those questions. And we can go over the best way to proceed, whether you should go on to the next level, stay where you are, or drop back a level. So here's the Balance Yourself quiz. We're going to start and we're going to go through these a little bit, but this is how you're going to kind of decide where you should try to start, okay? So I'm going to go over each one of these questions very quickly. I have a chair right here. You can see it doesn't have any wheels. It's up against a wall, so it's nice and sturdy. And the first question is, can you stand up from a chair using only one hand? So I'm going to use my left hand just so that you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to put my left hand on the armrest, and I'm going to try to stand up out of this chair. When I do, my legs aren't resting up against the chair, but I'm standing on my own 2 feet. So if you're able to do that, then we're going to move on to the next question. But if you're unable to do that, you're going to start at level A because that's one of the skills that you'll be working on. Okay, so the next one, if you are able to stand up out of the chair, and I'm sorry, I meant to mention this earlier, but I'm going to go through all of these. If you feel safe and you want to do these along with me, that's fine. As long as you're safe, make sure that you have your phone near you. If you don't feel safe, these materials will be available to those who have the Balance Yourself package, and then you can do them on your own time in a very safe way, okay? So going back to it, that was standing up out of a chair. The next one is, can you stand with one foot directly in front of the other without holding on to anything? So I have this bar right here. I don't expect you to have a balance bar in your home. So this is where you would be doing this in front of your kitchen sink with your hand in the sink without holding on to the side, just in there. And you're going to put one foot in front of the other, and you're going to stand for 20 seconds. If you're able to do that, then you can move on to the next question. But if you can't, then you're going to again start at level A because that's one of the skills that you'll be working on. Okay, the next question is, can you stand on one foot without holding on to anything? And again, for this one, I'm going to go back to my bar, or you'll go back to your kitchen sink. All right, you're going to hold on to the counter. You're going to lift one leg, and then you're going to lift your hand up off the counter. And you're going to see if you can stand there on just one foot for at least 20 seconds. If you cannot do this, then you're going to start at level B. But if you can, we're going to move on to the next question, which is, can you stand from a chair without using your hands? Now, before we did it with just one hand, and this time we're going to do it without any hands. So again, you can do these, you can put your hands on your lap like this, across your shoulders, or in front of you, whatever is most comfortable. And you're going to just try to stand up without using your hands. And again, you shouldn't be leaning up against the chair with the backs of your legs when you do stand. You should be standing on your own 2 feet. If you are unable to do this, you're going to start at level B. And if you can, then you're going to do one last test. Now, you might want to do this on a countertop because this does involve stepping. And I'm not going to be able to take all 10 steps because I don't have the room, but I'll show you what this means. You're going to, without touching down, take 10 steps heel to toe so that your heel touches your toe with each step. If you're able to do that, then you're going to start at level D. But if you're unable to do that, you're going to start at level C, because that's one of the skills that you'll be working on. And again, this flowchart will be available to those who purchase the Balance Yourself package. And so you'll be able to do this on your own time and see really where your skills align. So what if all of the levels are too difficult? Now, this program is meant for people that have a sort of basis of balance. If you have any safety concerns about starting at level A, then this might not be the right program for you. We would highly recommend actually finding an Otago fall prevention trained clinician, or consider working with a vestibular physical therapist. So if our clinic, which has a bunch of vestibular physical therapists, is not convenient for you, then you can find a clinic that is convenient for you using the webpage that we put down below. If you want to use insurance, then you might need a referral from your physician's office, especially if you're in Texas. Texas law dictates that we have to have a referral in order to treat past 10 calendar days. And if you don't have a referral, your insurance might not cover it. So we've provided a link to help find a healthcare professional that specializes in dizziness and balance disorders. And we'll provide you a direct link from today's webinar in the chat as well. All right. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Bridget.
Thank you so much, Charlotte. Really appreciate that. And again, I want to thank Charlotte for all the work that she's put in to bring this program to you. Super exciting. Thank you all who participated, and look forward to seeing you again in the future, I hope.